Hi folks, Bob Collins for Diver Supply. This video is a little bit of a follow-up about that legend, and we have one on display, and I took the camera and I went out and I did some video, some head-on shots, some side shots. I turned it upside down so you could see it, and I think maybe you're going to see some interesting things here. So let's take a look at it. I'm pointing at the low pressure ports that are not occupied, and this is the normal way that this regulator is mounted. And this point, the port I'm pointing at, those two in this position would be your low pressure inflator and maybe the other port for your dry suit. This is your high pressure port, this is your other high pressure port. And you can see there's a slight angle to the high pressure ports, slightly down, but on those low pressure ports that I just touched, and I'm touching at right now and pointing, there is no up or down angle to those hoses. So there's not any stress on those hoses, whether it's mounted that way or if it's flipped over. It would make absolutely no difference. Now, what we're going to do is take a look at headroom. You can see the top part of the chamber up. Where my finger is right now is where the yoke is on the other side, and we're going to turn this sideways in a minute. And this is what's below the yoke. Above the yoke, and of course what's below the yoke. And you can see there's a significant difference right there. All right, so here's a side shot of the regulator. You can clearly see the yoke behind the regulator. Turn it sideways a little bit more. There's your low pressure ports. You see they're angled straight out. There's your high pressure that's got a very slight angle down. And there's the bottom of the chamber. All right, the body of the first stage, and there's the top and the bottom. And now we're going to flip it over as if you mounted it upside down. Now, what I didn't do is this is on display, I did not take the hoses off. All I did was take it off the valve and turn it upside down and mount it back on there. Let's take a look. All right, I'm going to get it positioned. You can easily see where those hoses are now, and you can see they're sticking straight out. I put a little angle down so you could see this. This is not level, so I wanted you to be able to see the connection point. Now it's level, and you can see the dry chamber is pointing down in relationship to the A-clamp. And I'm trying to operate this and move this with one hand and be controlling the camera with the other. If somebody was vertically challenged, a woman with that's not very tall, that's got a short torso, then maybe diving with an aluminum 80 and it's in the BC on her back and it's up a little bit as it would be normally, she may be bumping her head on. Now, if you dive like a seahorse, it doesn't make any difference. But if you're in a good neutral buoyancy position and you're looking up with your head, then you might bump your head on it, because what this is happening is the tank is positioned and it's slid slightly up for that person. Now, of course, the cure is to take that, loosen the tank strap, slide it down a little bit so that short person is not bumping their head. Now, of course, what ends up happening is the bottom of the tank is hitting them in the top of the butt, or the lower back, I guess I should say. And when that happens, that's almost as uncomfortable. But again, if you're diving like a seahorse, it doesn't make any difference. But so what you can do, of course, you got a couple of choices. You can flip this first stage over so it's not as tall. And that's what one of the ladies that I met out on the sales floor, she and her husband, bought her one of these, and that's the way she mounted it. And she told me she loved it. And it was, it was a vindication of exactly what I'm talking about. Now, of course, you can use like a compact 80 for that person and leave it with the dry chamber pointing up, or what would be up, and then the shorter tank, which a steel 80 is the same height as a aluminum 63, of course. So shorter tank, but now that shorter person is more comfortable, no head bump, no butt bump, and they are carrying as much air as their dive buddy is. So, you know, you got a couple of different ways to handle this, and my suggestion about turning this upside down in relationship is somewhat insignificant per se, especially now that you can see with your own two eyes that the low pressure ports, whether it's upside down or right side up, depending on your opinion, they're level. They're not angled down. The only port that's slightly angled down is that high pressure port. And there's actually a benefit when you turn it upside down if you put a AI transmitter on it with a little 4-inch hose like most of us do, and now it's actually sticking up and over your shoulder with better exposure to your dive computer. So think about things like that. And again, I always enjoy your comments out there. I enjoy making videos based on your request and your comments. But again, opinions, my opinion in 2020, this was the best regulator going, in my opinion. Is the Mark 25 A700 or Mark 25 G420 or whatever, or the Apex or the other, are they great regulators? Yes, they are. They're great regulators. But at the same time, that was my opinion, and I did not get paid to make that opinion as far as that's concerned. So again, I always appreciate you folks out there watching the channel, meeting some of you when you come in the stores. And of course, I look forward to meeting many of you in the future and reading your comments. So again, I'm Bob Collins for Diver Supply. Thanks for watching, and as I always say, dive safe out there.